Welcome to the Smart Keys podcast. Today we're doing something a little different. Usually we're looking at, a new piece of SaaS, a market trend, or some complex workflow optimization. But today we are looking at the physical foundation where all that work actually happens. We're talking about your desk. And before you roll your eyes and think, I know how to tidy up, let me just stop you right there.
Right, because what we're unpacking today isn't really about tidying up, not in the sense of just making things look pretty for a photo. It's about treating your workspace as a strategic asset. We're doing a deep dive into an article by Felix Römer from smartkeys.org. It's titled, Desk Organization. Keep your workspace clutter-free for better focus.
And Felix isn't just like an interior designer or professional organizer. He's the founder of Smart Keys. He has over 15 years in e-commerce and digital marketing. So he combines that heavy-hitting business background with a real passion for productivity strategies. So when he talks about desk organization, he's not coming at it from a home decor perspective. He's coming at it from an efficiency standpoint.
Exactly. He's looking at the ROI of your square footage. The core problem Felix identifies here is something called decision fatigue. It's the hidden cost of a messy desk. Every time your eye catches a pile of unsorted papers or a tangle of cables or that mug filled with dry pens, your brain has to process that visual noise.
Visual noise. I love that term. It perfectly describes that feeling when you sit down to work at 9 a.m. and you just feel, tired before you've even opened your laptop.
That's the brain trying to filter out irrelevant data. It pulls your attention away, and crucially, it slows down task switching. If you have to hunt for a charging cable for 2 minutes, you have completely broken your flow state.
It's gone.
So our mission today is to extract the system Felix lays out, the hardware, the zones, the habits, to turn a chaotic desk into a command center for deep work.
I am ready for this. Let's get into the first step. And I have to say, the article starts with a bit of a nuclear option. It doesn't say organize what you have. It says start fresh.
It does. And this is the part that makes people a little nervous. The advice is to remove everything from the surface.
Everything.
Not just the trash. Take the monitor off, take the lamp off, take the laptop off. Empty the top completely until you are staring at a bare slab of wood.
Which is terrifying, but also kind of liberating, right?
It resets your baseline. If you just organize in place, you usually end up just shuffling piles from left side to the right side. Once the desk is empty, you have to audit every single item before it's allowed back.
Okay.
Felix suggests a very specific set of rules of engagement here. It's the keep, toss, back stock framework.
Okay, let's unpack those rules. Keep seems obvious. It's the stuff you use. But the article gets specific about the frequency, doesn't it?
It really does. The rule is if you use it daily, it stays. That's your keep pile. If you haven't used it in 6 months, toss it or at least question its existence seriously. But the most important category for professionals, and the one we usually get wrong, is backstock.
Backstock. That sounds like retail inventory language.
It is, and it applies perfectly here. Backstock refers to items that are necessary. You need them eventually, but you don't need them right now.
Okay, like what?
Think extra printer paper, backup toner, that box of 500 staples.
Right. I need staples, but I don't need 500 of them staring at me while I answer emails.
Exactly. They don't belong on the desk surface. They go into labeled containers in nearby storage, like a closet or a bookshelf. They are available, but out of sight. This clears the stage for the concept of zoning. The article talks about creating a cockpit concept.
I like that imagery. You're the pilot.
Right. Think about a pilot in a fighter jet. They don't have to get up and walk to the back of the plane to fly it. Everything critical is within arm's reach. Felix argues for keeping only daily essentials in that primary zone near your chair.
And the list of essentials is surprisingly short. He mentions, favorite pens, one notebook, and a charging cable. That's essentially it.
That's a challenge to our hoarding tendencies.
It really is. I mean, be honest. How many of us have that mug on the desk with 15 pens in it? And you know for a fact that 3 of them are dead, 2 of them are weird neon color you never use, and you still have to rifle through them to find the one good one?
That rifling is exactly the micro decision we're trying to eliminate. Every time you test a pen and it doesn't work, that's a tiny frustration. That's friction. If you only have your 3 absolute favorite pens in a specific holder, retrieval becomes automatic. You don't look, you just reach. That preserves your mental energy for the actual work.
So we've cleared the surface, we've got our daily essentials in the cockpit. Now we have to talk about the nemesis of the modern workspace. The thing that ruins every aesthetic photo and drives me crazy, the cables.
The cable nightmare. the spaghetti monster under the desk.
It's the worst. You look under some desks and it looks like a snake's wedding down there.
Oh.
But the article suggests a strategy that I found really interesting, the under-the-surface strategy.
This is a game changer. The goal is to move the infrastructure under the desk. Felix recommends taking a high-quality, surge-protected power strip and actually mounting it to the underside of the desktop.
So you're screwing or adhering the power strip upside down, basically.
Exactly. This centralizes all your plugs. Instead of 5 different cords snaking across the floor to a wall outlet, you have one single power lead going down.
Wow.
It eliminates those floor tangles that catch dust and look messy.
And he takes it a step further with external hard drives.
Yes. If you use backup drives, don't let them sit on your desk, vibrating and taking up space. Use adhesive brackets to mount them underneath the desk as well. They stay connected, they stay safe, but they are completely invisible.
I love that. It's like magic. You have the functionality, but you don't see the tool. But what about the cables that have to be on top, like your keyboard or mouse if they aren't wireless, or that charging cable we mentioned?
That's where cable management hardware comes in. The article recommends sleeves to wrap groups of cords together so it looks like one thick, intentional line rather than a spider web.
Okay.
And using adhesive clips to route lines along the edge or the back of the desk.
And there's a specific point about charging zones. This resonated with me because my chargers tend to migrate. One day it's in the kitchen, next day it's in the bedroom, then I'm crawling under the desk looking for an outlet 5 minutes before a call.
That roaming gear is a major cause of clutter. The advice is to create a single designated spot, maybe a shallow tray or a wireless pad, strictly for charging. That way, power gear stops roaming the room. You always know where the juice is.
It seems like a lot of this is about reclaiming surface area. And another way to do that is going vertical. The article spends a good chunk of time on monitor risers and stands.
And this is a 2-for-1 benefit. First, there's the ergonomics. Raising the screen to eye level saves your neck from that tech hunch.
Yeah.
But strategically, a monitor riser creates a second shelf on your desk.
Right, because the stand itself lifts the monitor up, leaving a gap underneath.
Exactly. You can slide your keyboard under there when you're writing in a notebook. Or, Felix suggests looking for monitor stands that actually have shallow drawers built in. That is the perfect place to hide those sticky notes, flash drives, or that one charging cable when not in use.
It's hidden storage that doesn't take up any extra footprint.
Okay.
And he suggests the same for laptops, right?
Yes. If you're working off a laptop flat on the desk, you're hunching, and you're taking up prime real estate. Put it on a sturdy stand, lift it up, use an external keyboard and mouse. It looks more professional, it feels better, and it clears the active zone directly in front of you.
Now, looking beyond the desk itself, the article brings up wall utilization, specifically pegboards and floating shelves.
This is about moving the reference material off the work surface. If you have binders, industry magazines, or even just some decor that makes you happy, put them on a floating shelf. Yeah. They are still visible, which is important for reference material, but they aren't cluttering your typing space.
And for the people who still deal with physical paper, which unfortunately is still a lot of us, there's a note on paper flow.
The in, waiting, and archive system. Felix recommends using wall-mounted trays for this. The key visualization here is that paper should flow in one direction. It comes in, it gets processed, and it gets archived. It should just pile up in a stack that gets shuffled back and forth.
Speaking of shuffling, let's talk about drawers. Because if the desk surface is the cockpit, the drawers are the engine room. But usually they're just a disaster zone.
The junk drawer spiral. We've all been there. It starts with one battery, then a rubber band, then a soy sauce packet, and suddenly the drawer won't open.
It becomes the place where random objects go to die.
So Felix suggests a grid concept to fight this. You don't just throw things in the drawer. You use mix and match organizers, those little plastic or bamboo bins, to create a grid where every item has a specifically sized home.
So the sticky notes have a slot that fits them perfectly. The batteries have their own little square.
Precisely. It's about constraints. If the battery section is full, you know you don't need to buy more batteries. And he has a strict no junk drawer rule. The top drawer should be for everyday tools, the things you reach for constantly. Rarely used items get banished to the bottom drawers or moved to back stock.
But what if you don't have drawers? A lot of modern desks are just flat tables. It looks great, but where does this stuff go?
That's a common situation. The article suggests no drawer solutions. You can use under-desk trays that screw in, or a slim rolling cart that sits next to the desk. But my favorite tip here is the hidden bin technique.
What's that?
It's using decorative storage boxes with lids that stack on your desk or shelves. But here is the critical part. You have to label the front edge.
Why is that distinction so critical?
Because if you have to open 3 boxes to find the one with the USB adapters, you will stop using the system. You'll get annoyed, and you'll just leave the adapter on the desk next time.
Right.
If the label is on the front edge or the inside lip of a drawer, you can find what you need without searching. Again, retrieval becomes automatic.
That brings us to another form of clutter that isn't physical in the traditional sense, but takes up massive amounts of space. Paper and digital minimalism.
The paper problem. The rule Felix proposes is scan once, touch once.
I try to live by this. As soon as a receipt or bill comes in,
You scan it immediately. Use a phone app or a small scanner, verify the image is good, save it to a specific cloud folder, and then, unless legally required, shred the original.
that sounds ruthless.
It is efficient. Paper eats space, digital files don't. And speaking of hardware that eats space, the printer.
Oh, the printer. The big, ugly box that sits there gathering dust until you need it once a month.
Felix's advice, hide it, put it in a closet, put it in a large drawer.
But isn't that inconvenient?
How often do you really print? If it's wireless, you can print from your desk and then walk 10 steps to pick it up. That is a small price to pay for reclaiming 2 square feet of desk space.
That is a very good point. Let's shift gears to the environment itself, lighting and decor. Because the article mentions moving lighting off the desktop too.
Yes. A desk lamp takes up a base footprint. Felix suggests floor lamps with arc or boom joints. They stand on the floor, but the arm reaches over the desk to illuminate the workspace.
So you get the light, but you lose the clutter base.
Exactly. And for decor, because we don't want these desks to look like sterile robotic workstations, he suggests micro accents, a small plant, a frame. But again, place them on the risers or the shelves. Keep the active workspace clear for work.
He also touches on multi-use spaces. A lot of people are working from a desk that might double as a nightstand, or it's in the corner of a living room.
This is where the hide-and-seek strategy comes in. If your desk is also your nightstand, you need a way to transition modes. Hide the chargers behind the unit. Use stackable boxes where one is for work stuff and one is for night stuff. It helps you mentally switch off from work if you can physically hide the evidence of the workday.
So we've built the system, we've cleared the desk, zoned it, mounted the cables, hid the printer. What is the actual strategic payoff here? Why should a business leader or a busy professional care about this level of detail?
It comes down to focus and flow. We talked about visual noise earlier. When that noise is gone, your mind is calmer. You can enter deep work states faster. But there's also the professional image aspect.
Right, video calls.
We live on Zoom and Teams. If your background is a chaotic mess of piles and wires, it subconsciously signals a lack of control. A tidy background bookshelves, a clean surface, looks competent. It signals that you are on top of things.
And there's the agility factor, too. If a new project lands on your desk,
You have space for it. You aren't spending the first 20 minutes clearing a spot to put a notebook down. You can pivot instantly.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me, because I am great at the big clean. I can organize my desk perfectly on a Sunday. By Wednesday, it's a disaster again. How do we stop the drift?
Sustainability. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a protocol. Felix outlines 2 specific habits. First, the Friday reset.
What does that look like?
It's a 5-minute habit loop at the end of the week. Before you close your laptop for the weekend, you clear the surface. You file the papers, you put the pens back in the cup, you throw away the trash. You reset the cockpit to 0.
So on Monday morning, you're welcoming yourself to a clean slate.
Exactly. You aren't greeted by the ghosts of last week's stress. You start fresh. The second habit is the monthly audit.
Which is deeper.
Yes. That's where you check for drift. Maybe you started leaving a stapler on the desk that really belongs in a drawer. Maybe a keep item hasn't been touched in 4 weeks and needs to move to back stock. It's about retuning the system.
It really emphasizes that the system serves you, not the other way around.
That's the final thought I'd want listeners to take away. The goal is a system where retrieval is automatic. When the tool serves the work, the friction disappears. You aren't fighting your environment. You're supported by it.
I love that. Retrieval is automatic. It sounds like a superpower.
In a world of constant distraction, it absolutely is.
Well, I am definitely looking at my own desk differently right now. I think I have a Friday reset to schedule.
And maybe a few pens to toss.
Don't call me out like that. But seriously, thank you for tuning in to the Smart Keys podcast. We hope this deep dive gave you some actionable ideas to transform your workspace.
And if you want to see the full list of recommended tools, the specific cable sleeves, the risers, the organizer grids, You really should read the full article by Felix Römer.
We've put the link right in the show notes. Go check it out. And if you enjoyed this discussion on the future of work and how to optimize your day, please hit that subscribe button. We'll be back with more insights soon. Thanks for listening.